Hello, everyone. You are listening to your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Again, we are back with a new guest this week, and I'm so pumped to have you. You stepped in at such a last-minute time, so thank you for saving my butt on that. But again, my name is Kiana Rivera, and I'm the Vice President of Membership and Program Development here at the Chamber. And today, we are joined by our guest, Dr. Paul Skomra. And you know the drill. I'm going to read a little bit about his bio, and then we'll get right into the interview. Dr. Paul is a board-certified primary care physician at Mount Sinai, New York, concierge care. Dr. Skomra received his medical degree from the Ross University School of Medicine and completed a residency in family medicine at Chestnut Hill Hospital in Pennsylvania. He is board certified by the American Board of Family Medicine and also holds certifications from the American Heart Association, the American Academy of Facial Aesthetics, and his clinical interests include preventative health, disease management, and nutrition. Dr. Skomra is a member of the American Academy of Family Practitioners as well as the American Medical Association and provides expert primary care to all of his patients. Welcome,
Perfect.
Dr. Paul.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here, so thank you for having me.
Well, thank you just to your sister, Alyssa, for pulling the strings to get you here. I was like, I need help immediately. I had a last-minute cancellation because we had our previous guest was sick. I know it's going around. School is here, so everybody's about to get sick.
Yes.
But just I'm so thankful for her that she was able to pull you in and convince you. So thank you.
It was an easy convincing, so.
That's wonderful. So I'd keep it really easy. I just want to know a little bit about you personally. Sure. Like, are you from the area? You know, what even got you into medicine? Is your family into medicine? Kind of give me the backstory.
So yeah, there is medicine in my family, but I wouldn't say that was the number one reason that I pursued it. Ever since I was a little kid, I'd been interested in how things work. You know, there's pictures of me staring at bugs and plants and kind of just figuring out the way things work, why they work, and, you know, how to fix them when they break. So that combined with the fact that I'm a middle child, and I just kind of so strongly craved attention, that kind of led me to really seeking, I guess, personal relationships.
Right.
So that combined with my interest of science led me towards medicine and the field that I'm in, which is primary care. Mm-hmm. That focuses on the holistic person rather than one specific area. And it's an intimate relationship that I have with my patients, and I like to kind of zoom out and see the whole picture and help them on their journey to wellness.
No, that's wonderful. And I'm glad you have that dedication to your patients, because so many times, especially to, like, I don't know, even not so long ago, but I just remember having this terrible, like, frightening feeling when I would go to the doctor's office. Sure. Even as a kid growing up, I had nothing wrong with me. It was just like a checkup, you know, whatever it was. Yeah. But you don't get that personal touch sometimes. So the fact that you make that a priority is wonderful to me.
It's important because you can diffuse the situation, you know, and it helps the patient open up. And they taught us the most important thing in med school about the patient experience is the history you take. So if you could sit there and lend a listening ear, you'll be surprised what you hear. And you know, some things are not always great, but it always helps to kind of paint the whole picture and see somebody in their entirety.
No, that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about your journey through school, and like, were you up in Pennsylvania the whole time, or did you go back and forth?
Okay, so yeah, I kind of skipped the part about, am I from here? Yes, I'm from here.
Oh, good,
so
good.
I'm from the Jupiter area. I grew up here.
Local, nice. Did you go to Jupiter High?
I went to Suncoast.
Okay, very cool. I went to Jupiter Christian.
Oh, nice.
So yes, that's how Alyssa and I connected originally. Really? Was that I was like, oh my gosh, you're from Jupiter. We know the same people.
It's such a small community.
It is.
And that's
it's
what
so
I love.
Small.
Growing though, which is exciting. But so I'm from Jupiter. Grew up in the area. I went to University of Florida for undergrad, and then I went to Ross for medical school, which is where I met my wife. And then
your wife is also in medicine?
She was. She's a career changer, and this whole podcast could be about her because she's amazing.
That's wonderful.
But she owns a children's bookstore locally. So
great. Okay.
Anyhow, so from Ross, I went to New York City, which is where I trained.
Okay.
Multiple hospitals there. And then after that, Philadelphia. And then my wife and I decided to make the trip to Seattle for a little bit.
Oh my goodness. How long were you in Seattle?
For 2 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Really great.
I just, not to sidetrack we'll go back to what you
Sure.
said, but I went to Seattle for the first time this summer and I did Mount Rainier, I did Olympic, right? And then we didn't really do Seattle though. I was more like, I landed in Seattle and then drove elsewhere, but it was beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
So it's like you look out just at the landscape and you're like, this can't be real.
I know.
It's
It
clearly
looks like a
Photoshopped.
portrait.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's just not a very small window, but the months that it is beautiful are
so
seldom.
small. Yes. Well, we went hiking on Mount Rainier and I was not prepared. I was in like feet deep of snow. I had my walking sticks. I had to go buy the crampons or whatever they're called. They had to slide on your shoes that are like snow spikes.
Oh, okay.
They're basically, without having to buy snow spike boots, you just slide them onto your hiking boots, and they're supposed to help you track with the snow. They did.
Okay,
Believe me, I would have fallen off a mountain. I would not be here if it wasn't for the
thank you,
crampons.
crampons.
Seriously. It was so funny, though, because this Florida girl shows up in, like, just some long sleeve, like, loose-fitted stuff that you wear on the boat, and I'm like, I am going to die of cold out here, like, especially when we hiked up top.
It's intense, not to mention the rain.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. But anyway, sorry. So you spent some time in Seattle, and then where?
And then I realized, what I was missing, which is family and friends and just an attachment to my community. So that's what led me back here. And ever since, I've just been plugged in and loving it.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So real quick, you are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we are joined by Dr. Paul from Mount Sinai. So tell me a little bit about Mount Sinai. Just kind of give our listeners the overview of who you are, where you are, and just like your overall mission.
So Mount Sinai, New York has been in the area for about 10 years. Mount Sinai, New York Concierge Care has been here for almost 2 now. And we moved from Flagler to right on Fern, which is in City Place.
Right. The building is beautiful.
Oh, it is. It's great.
You look at it and you're like, this is the most beautiful building in West Palm.
It's really state of the art.
Right.
So a lot of New York businesses and folks, they've been moving down, so we're there to accommodate them and the rest of the community. But it truly is a state of the art experience. The whole building, but particularly our office and what we can provide is a close mirror to what you get in New York.
No, that's perfect. And then so you've been with Mount Sinai for the 10?
No, so I've been almost at the beginning of the conception of the concierge care is when I came on board.
Great.
Prior to that, I was working actually with my childhood physician.
Okay, that's great.
So he recruited me when I moved back to New York in 2019. And, it was a busy practice, seeing about 20, 30 patients a day, which is good and great, but it's limiting,
That's a lot.
It's limiting with time that you have with the patients and that history taking that's so important. And it was limiting me from really trying to grow connections, not only with my patients, but, specialists in the area and, helping expand my network, because that's really important with what I do.
Right. And tell me a little bit about how you differ from just like other doctors in the area where you have that focused mindset of the history learning of your patients.
So I would say 2 things. Like, I would say Mount Sinai Concierge Care differentiates itself from other practices because of our deeper bench. We have specialists on site like dermatology and cardiology, nutrition, psychology. So we have a lot under one roof, not to mention our vast network in New York City that we could always call on.
Right.
So that differentiates us from most of the other folks in the area, although there are players coming to town. We still have a strong presence and we intend to grow. Mm-hmm. But I would say, me personally, I think my accessibility is one thing, right? Because, my watch is my phone and I'm always wearing my watch. So I like to be very accessible to my patients, and that's so we can nip things in the bud before they become an issue.
Right.
We can keep them out of harm's way. And my whole focus is wellness. It's not sick care, it's health care, it's wellness. We focus on lifespan, or on health span, not lifespan.
Right.
So we're a lot less reactive and we're much more proactive.
I love that you have that approach, because a little bit about my family history. My family's from Pennsylvania, and so Western PA, if you ever go to Western PA, it's interesting. And just everybody up there weighs like 500 pounds. Like, I'm not even joking. And I think the biggest thing that happened in the town that I was born in was that the McDonald's got remodeled. And you're just like, guys, there's no healthy options here. You know, the gym is like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. You know, so things like that. And the fact that, like, even my grandparents, you know, I just see them. My grandma recently passed last year, and just the amount of, like, that's okay. I mean, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't, but it's okay. It's okay now. But just like the amount of like medication she was on, and like you just sit there, and I'm such an overthinker that I just sit there and I'm like, I wonder if her lifestyle was different, if she would have lasted another 10 years.
I think absolutely.
Right?
I think absolutely.
So when it comes to how we live, I mean, I was sharing with you about my grandma and how she just was on all of these medications, and, you know, she passed a little over a year ago. And all I could think about was the fact that I wonder if she took better care of herself, if she would have lasted another 10 years. It's like, you know, I feel like I'm missing out on, you know, future opportunities of having her there, like for when I get married or when I have kids. And I'm just like, because I'm an overthinker, and that's all I think about. And that's what I, you know, wonder if she really invested the time earlier in her health, if she could have, you know, lasted a little bit longer. Yeah.
It reminds me of a book called Outlive by Dr. Attia that really focuses on the 4 horsemen of...
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, of the typical fate, not the typical fates, but the things that are kind of casting a shadow over us and that are out to get us, so to speak, especially as Americans. And it's cardiovascular health, it's cancer, it's neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and it's metabolic dysfunction disorders like diabetes and obesity. So some of those things overlap, but I would say primarily here, the metabolic syndrome is important, especially where you were. And there are so many ways to kind of mitigate that and address that. And oftentimes it starts with what you're putting in your mouth, your diet. Right? And exercise is often, you know, understressed and underutilized. So we have a nutritionist that helps us work with a particular diet.
Really? No way. At Mount Sinai?
At Mount Sinai,
wonderful.
So she helps us. We have body scanners that can assess your body weight, your caloric needs, and how we can help you lose weight with that. And the Dr. Attia focuses on these 4 horsemen, and it's just to say that there's so much we can do by way of preventative health that typical traditional Western medicine does not address until it's too late, until it rears its head. So,
do you think too, with just the way of our history as a nation, that hopefully there is some cultural shift now with the younger generation of more a focus on health and wellness? Or do you think that it's still like we have to like nail it into our brains at a young age because we're still just like so consumer mindset with everything we eat? It's like you eat, but you eat so much all the time.
No, I that's a tough question.
I know, sorry.
You know, no, it's okay. I think there's so many areas that we've kind of got it wrong as a society, and one is just the abundance of resources we have.
Right.
So I think to kind of get to the crux of it, I think a lot of it is just education.
Okay.
And I feel like it's my responsibility to educate my patients and tell them how to navigate these things and how to hold back on, you know, the overabundance of things that are here, and how to navigate the grocery store so they're not eating the ultra processed foods. But, you know, the food industry, the education, even in medical school, the education doesn't focus on nutrition nearly as much as it should. So I think it's a very deep-rooted issue.
Right.
And
it's like this inner battle within all of us here, I think, in the U.S., because it's like I traveled abroad to Europe one summer, and I through Italy, you know, of course, you do the whole Italy trip. And I mean, they eat like pasta and pizza, but it's all so natural. I was not sick ever, like not once.
And the fact that you're walking around in most of these places,
exactly.
You know, it's
I know
wish
it's
I
rough,
could
man.
change
I'm like, that's so funny. Well, real quick, you're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide. Again, we're joined by Dr. Paul from Mount Sinai Concierge Care here in West Palm. And this interview has just been continuously amazing with all the information you've provided. So the book that you spoke about, I need you to email that to me because we'll link it in the bio or whatever. No so that way, I'm going to order the book, so I want to read it.
Good.
In addition to that, I want to pivot real quick. Do you have any just like stories that are close to your heart where you're like, I've seen this person from, ultra sickness or even just like the start of their health journey and they've listened to everything you've said. Yeah. And one that you're like, this is why I became a doctor. This is why I do what I do.
I think there are several, but one that sticks out is a lady who had recently lost her husband and was kind of in a dark place in her life mentally. So that was something that I, encouraged her to seek help, and I counseled her through, and eventually began her on medication. And along with her mental issues, she was also, overeating, under-exercising, and just that deepened her depression, I think.
Right.
So I was able to help her out of that depression and simultaneously coach her towards a more healthy lifestyle, and she just bounced back completely. She was running marathons.
Oh my gosh.
Just like almost in tears every time she saw me, and it was just an emotional experience. But I would say that is that's why I do what I do, is to help people through their darkest times.
Right.
Hopefully they never get to those times, but I just want to be there.
Yeah. Well, and that takes the cake, to be honest with you, when you have those moments where you, even now, if you see her out, just that emotional connection that you share, that's a really big deal, especially helping people through loss of, that's such a big thing that we as humans deal with. So again, now to something a little bit more exciting than, sadness. What do you do to unplug? I mean, do you live in Jupiter? Are you a boater? Are you a fisherman? I mean,
unfortunately not. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But I live in West Palm Beach now.
Okay.
So as I told you, my wife has a bookstore.
Yes. Okay. So quick, plug your wife. What's this bookstore?
So she owns Roey's Readery, which is like
I know her. That's your wife?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Next guest.
Yes, she will be. She was at our Women's Leadership Council this past week.
She's a gem. But when I unplug, I work with her, and I work with the kids, and I support what she's doing. Yeah.
Does she still have her shop in City Place, or where is it?
She's moving to the Northwest District.
Nice.
And she's opening up in a couple months. So that's been a lot of work, but it's like heart work, it's passion work. Good. So I support her in every way possible. So that's my outlet, and plus I have 2 little toddlers, so that's another thing that keeps me busy. Outside of that, and back to me now.
I know, sorry. I was like, wow, sorry, mind totally blown. I'm going to email her and be like, I just met your husband.
the whole concierge thing, it's conducive to me being able to, go to conventions and learning about specific areas like longevity medicine and all the advancements that are being made to keep me on the forefront of it. So, and it's something I'm truly passionate about. So anyway, I think that's one of the unseen positives of concierge care, is that your provider is able to really explore new innovative things.
Have you seen what's something that's up and coming that you've seen just recently that you're like, this could really be a big deal?
I would say just the advent of AI in general.
Oh yeah,
and
let's
how
talk about that a bit.
Applying that to radiology scans and things, comparing them to thousands and hundreds of thousands of images, to come to a diagnosis quicker and to move them up on the list of being reviewed.
Right.
That, and then there's these new blood tests for cancer, these methylation tests.
Wow.
That can screen you for cancer with pretty high specificity. So there's just so much to come that it's kind of mind-bending. But I suspect that in the next 10 to 20 years, medicine is going to be a lot different.
I think that's really that's heartwarming to know that we're on a trajectory of being able to see that stuff. Like, so many people are so afraid of AI, but it's like, there's good and bad with every technology shift, and it's like, if you choose to use it for the good and you can apply it in ways that will benefit long life and a more, healthy life and happy life too, just live happily, then use it. By all means, use all the AI you can. That's what I say.
I intend to when I figure it out. But I'm super excited for what's to come.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you for being on our podcast today.
You're welcome.
And we will definitely have you back because shameless plug here, we at the Chamber are launching our new healthcare council in the month of September. And Mount Sinai Concierge Care is a huge proponent of that, with a couple other individuals that we've partnered with in the area that's all centered around healthcare wellness, and just really learning and peeling back everything to do with our bodies and how to be just live a better and healthy life. So thank you for being on today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And please stay tuned for future guests as we have them on, and we hope you have a great day.